Certainly. Here's a story about a husband who discovers his wife's infidelity and how he deals with it. ###The Unspoken Truth Part 1. The discovery. James and Emily had been married for 10 years. Their relationship had been steady but lacked the spark it once had. James, a hardworking and dedicated man, had been focusing on his career, often leaving Emily alone at home. One day, James came home early from work, hoping to surprise Emily with a quiet evening together. However, what he found was anything but a pleasant surprise. As he entered their house, he noticed Emily's car was in the driveway, which was unusual since she often ran errands in the late afternoon. Curiosity turned to concern as he heard muffled voices coming from the bedroom. Hesitantly, he pushed open the door to find Emily in bed with another man. Stunned, James stumbled back, his mind racing. The man, quickly realizing he'd been caught, scrambled to dress and exit the house. Emily, eyes wide with shock, stood frozen, her guilt palpable. Part 2. The confrontation. After the intruder had left, Emily turned to James, her face a mixture of fear and shame. James's voice was a strained whisper. "How could you do this?" Emily, unable to meet his eyes, stammered, "James, I'm so sorry. I don't know what to say. It was a mistake, a terrible mistake." James's hurt was evident, but he tried to stay composed. Was this a one-time thing, or is there something more going on? Emily hesitated, then nodded. "It's been going on for a few months. I didn't know how to stop it. I was lonely." James's heart sank. The words he never thought he'd hear were out in the open. He needed time to process, so he walked out of the house, needing space. The cool night air did little to calm his turmoil. Part 3. The reflection. Over the next few days, James found himself consumed by a whirlwind of emotions: anger, sadness, betrayal. He questioned everything about their relationship, trying to understand what had led Emily to this point. He took long walks, seeking solace in solitude, and talked to friends for advice, trying to make sense of the situation. Emily, meanwhile, was devastated by James's silence and distance. She knew she had broken something precious and was desperate to make amends, but she didn't know how to approach James without making things worse. Part 4. The decision. After a week of reflection, James decided to face the reality of his marriage. He agreed to meet Emily for a candid conversation. They sat in their living room, the same place where the betrayal had occurred, but the atmosphere was now heavy with tension and unspoken words. "Emily," James began, his voice steady, "I need to understand why this happened and whether it can be fixed. Our marriage was not perfect, but I never expected this." Emily, tearfully, explained her feelings of neglect and emotional distance, admitting her faults and her regrets. She expressed her desire to work through their issues and rebuild trust, acknowledging that it would take time and effort. James listened, his heart aching, but he was determined to make a decision that was best for both of them. "I need to think about what's next. We both need time to heal, whether that means working through this together or separately." Part 5. The path forward. James and Emily agreed to seek marriage counseling, hoping it would help them address the issues that led to the infidelity. They began a journey of introspection and communication, each working on their own personal growth as well. While the road was challenging, and the trust had been severely damaged, both were committed to making things right. They faced their issues head-on, learning to communicate better and to prioritize each other's needs. In the end, James and Emily's story was one of pain and healing. Their marriage was not the same as it once was, but they found a new understanding and respect for each other. The experience taught them the value of honesty and the strength required to confront and overcome the trials in a relationship. This story reflects the complexity of dealing with infidelity and emphasizes the importance of communication and commitment in healing and rebuilding trust.